Hey guys, it's December 22nd. I did two reds for the last one, and there's a lot of color albums that are 10s. So I can just do colors for a while. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do colors later. I want to do at least a few more colors because there's a lot of my favorite records that are colors. Purple Rain, uh, Pink Flag, Purple Onion, the Les Claypool record. I should do a Purple Rain, Purple Onion. Um, Black Album, Blue, Joni Mitchell is probably her best record. Um, yeah, uh, there's tons of albums named after colors. I like the Beck album, Colors. Um, I think it's one of his best. The only one I'd put above it is maybe Sea Change Midnight Vultures. But yeah, there's a lot of good albums named after colors or groups that have colors in their name. So I could do months of reviews just on things that are colors or numbers. It's arbitrary. However I do this is arbitrary. There's 10,000 albums that I need to tell you about, so I can divide them up however. But since I did red, I'm going to stick with colors at least for a little bit. And I'll give you two of the greatest albums ever written that are named after colors. The Beatles album is not really named after colors. It's named after the Beatles. It's their eponymous album. That was their titular. This is the Beatles. It's just supposed to be called the Beatles. The cover of it was supposed to be a photograph of John Lennon and Yoko Ono nude. The record company wouldn't allow them to use the photograph, so they just had it be a blank white thing that just says the Beatles, and then it became known as the White Album. But it's maybe the best Beatles album. Um, it's the most experimental out there Beatles album, and it covers kind of the largest amount of styles and sounds the most conflicted and creative of the Beatles records because it sounds like almost like the band falling apart over the course of this record because they're being pulled in so many different directions, but there's still a coherence and a beauty to this record, and the sort of uh, anarchist impulse to just do every genre, every style. Um, it results in a really fulfilling listening experience and shows you the overall breadth of their ambitions better than any record. So I'm going to do the White Album, and then I have to do another Green World. I haven't done a Brian Eno record, and I have to do like 5 of them. So because they're doing colors, I'll do the White Album, another Green World. I'll start with the White Album. White Album is fantastic. It starts with Back in the USSR, one of the best straight rock Beatles songs. The melody is great. The harmonies on the Sky Girls really knock me out, leave the West behind. That it's just a great Beatles song. It's kind of like an older Beatles song, but with more badass kind of controversial lyrics because we were in a Cold War at this time with Russia, so it was very kind of punk of them to do a love song to Russian girls. I'm partial to Russian girls. They're my favorite girls. So this holds a special place in my heart. This the paper bag was on my knee. Boy, I had a dreadful flight. It's relatable to me. It's a great song. it's a particularly great song if you've uh, been romantically uh, involved with people from the former Soviet states. Great opener, rockin', just sets a nice tone, and then Dear Prudence comes next. Dear Prudence is one of the greatest Beatles songs. It's one of the greatest songs, lyrically flawless. The sun is out, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you. Why don't you come out to play? Just an encouragement to kind of get you out of your depression, get you out of your funk, and engage in the world and see the beauty around you and connect with others, connect with nature, connect with all this amazing stuff that exists. And I feel like it's written to a person who's kind of depressed and struggling to find a sense of belonging or a sense of happiness. And it's basically instructing you, like, go out and play, go out and soak up the beauty, go, yeah, feels like a catalyst to be creative and to be appreciative, have gratitude, have wonder, which is an amazing sentiment. The song is really beautiful. I like the way that they layer the verses, they kind of build, and the chorus is gorgeous. It's an amazing song. Dear Prudence. After that is Glass Onion, which is very cool. It's kind of like Beatles making fun of their own cult, but also expanding their own cult by throwing out a bunch of kind of like false equivalencies and flags, kind of playing with their audience and creating their own kind of introducing a new chapter to the canon of the fake Beatles mythology that's been created around them by referencing their old songs, referencing characters and conspiracies, and then kind of confirming them, which is it's a great thing to do artistically. It's a dangerous thing to do because, people like Charlie Manson interpreted this as confirmation of the conspiracy theories. And yeah, it's just kind of fraught. It's a fraught decision to play into the cryptic, kind of dark elements of your own mythology, but it's really cool that they do it on this song. It's unremarkable as a song, but it's great as fan service for people that love the Beatles. Then Obla Di Obla Da, just the most adorable Paul McCartney. Just so fun. The lyrics are just great. This song is amazing. You could play this song for a 3-year-old and they would love it. Anybody would love this song. If you have like a heart, I don't see why you dislike this song. Maybe it's a little saccharine, a little corny, but it's a beautiful song. I love it. And then after that, as if to tell you, hey, the Beatles aren't just saccharine McCartney. There's Wild Honey Pie, which is amazing. It's like a fucking Residence song. It's just nuts. It's short. It's distorted. It's based on a sitar or ukulele, like a very cheap string instrument. And the lyrics are just distorted vocal. And I think bands like the Pixies, bands like Ween, the kind of experimental rock bands that came later, probably took a lot of their guidance about the limitations of music from songs like Honey Pie and songs like Revolution Number 9, which is why this record to me is specifically important within the Beatles discography, because it doesn't hide the non-mainstream ambitions of the Beatles sonically. So it kind of forces people who consume mainstream music that are Beatles fans to listen to stuff that's Stockhausen, to listen to stuff that's music concrete, to listen to stuff that's experimental. Um, yeah, so after Honey Pie, continuing story of Bungalow Bill, it's great. It's a great little mythology. Um, the song is awesome. I like the melody of the verse, and then it it just kind of falls apart, and then it's this kind of like sing along dance where it's like, hey, Bungalow Bill, how did you kill? It's a good song. Then's While My Guitar Gently Weeps. One of the best Harrison songs on a Beatles record. I like a lot of the Harrison songs on Beatles records. I like the weird sitar stuff. I like the early stuff, like The Word, I think you did. There's some great Harrison songs. The last record by the Beatles, the two best songs are easily the Harrison songs. Something and Here Comes the Sun on Abbey Road. Those are two of the greatest songs ever written. Harrison's an underrated songwriter. Um, All Things Must Pass is better than any solo record the other members put out. The possible exception of the John Lennon album with God and Mother on it. But yeah, it's debatably the best. Then after While My Guitar Gently Weeps, great solo. Clapton does a great guitar solo. The melody is great. It's kind of overly self-serious, but it works. It sounds epic enough to where it doesn't come off as cheesy. It comes off as genuinely like this really kind of emotional, kind of statement about how everything in the world goes on around you while you just create your little art. And maybe it affects your art, maybe your art's the escape from it, but all the world's going on around you, and you don't have any control over it. Everything's changing, everything's messed up, but you have your guitar, and you're gently playing. You're against the abyss, you're against the void, you're against the chaos, you're against all of the horror of society, and you just have your little instrument. You're just playing your little instrument at it. And that's the best you can do sometimes. Maybe all the time. After While My Guitar Gently Weeps is one of the greatest songs on the record, one of the greatest Beatles songs ever. Happiness is a Warm Gun goes through a bunch of different sections. I love every section. She's not a girl that misses much. She's like well acquainted with a velvet hand like a touch of a lizard on a window pane. The man in the crowd with his multicolored mirror selling hobnail boots. The whole, yeah, it's just great. It has that like I Am the Walrus, acid, crazy lyrics stuff, and then the coda bridge, whatever, before the chorus. I assume the chorus is the title. Maybe this is the chorus that um, I'm going down to the bitch that I left uptown. I need a fix cause I'm going down. Mother Superior jumped the gun. Mother Superior jumped the gun. And then this kind of builds and then explodes into Happiness is a Warm Gun. That happiness is a warm bang bang shoot shoot. Which is probably about heroin. Might be about actually guns, killing people. Maybe about sex. It's probably just about sex. Like happiness is, warm gun. You can do the math there. Um, After that is Martha My Dear. Lovely Paul McCartney, just saccharine pop song. After the chaos of Happiness is Warm Gun Honey Pie, it's a nice breather. It's just like an old, lovely, like a Penny Lane kind of a un unpretentious, kind of genuine, just fun love song. Reminds me of older, like 50s stuff, doo-wop Motown stuff. Um, Works well on the record. After that is I'm So Tired, another one of my favorite songs on the record. I like the way it builds up. The verses just kind of sneak in with, and then they just kind of build up over the, you say, I'm doing you wrong, things like, and then it's, I give you everything I got for a little peace of mind, and then it goes back into the, I'm so tired. It's a great song. After that is Blackbird. Blackbird, fantastic. This is as good as Paul McCartney gets. It's just a beautiful song. It's a great image. It just speaks to so many things. It's a straightforward, simple song, but it feels like it communicates about everything from being self-conscious, being a misfit, to maybe even like racism, maybe even like whatever. It's just kind of like an anthem for downtrodden people, saying that like, sing your song, sing your blues, sing your beautiful song, even if it's ugly, even if nobody wants to hear it. Communicate what you feel emotionally, and yeah, take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life you've been waiting for this moment to arrive. Yeah, it's a flawless song. One of the best songs on the record. Piggies is next, which is an insane George Harrison song. It sounds like weird British chamber music or something. It's good. It's about how capitalists are pigs, how everybody is just selfishly basing their worth on how much money they have, how successful they are, getting fat, eating their food, see them out. It's basically a song against the bourgeois, against the superficiality of the ruling class, which again is a dangerous thing to sing when people like Charlie Manson are listening to you. But it's a good song. It's kind of a novelty Harrison song. Rocky Raccoon is next, which is an amazing song. It's like Paul McCartney writing in old blues, like South Dakota there became a young boy named Rocky Raccoon. He even does like a fake Southern accent, and it's great. It has that kind of player piano you hear in like Old West bars come in and over the verses tells the story of Rocky, how he gets into a spat over a lover and then is shot and then the doctors are drunk, and then it's a wonderful song, one of the better songs. After that is Don't Pass Me By, which is a nice kind of poppy. It's not one of the best songs on the record, but yeah, it's cute. It's inoffensive. Why Don't We Do It in the Road is one of the best songs on the record, and it's just basically, it's like Paul McCartney doing Little Richard. It's just like a simple piano line, and then it's just him like screaming in like an old rock and roll style. Like kind of breaking his voice to hit the high notes. And the lyrics are very simple, and It's just like a call to action. It's a great song. I Will is a good romantic ballad. Just shows the polished romantic pop songwriting capacity of the Beatles very well. Demonstrates that. Julia is next. Julia is my favorite song on the record. It's absolutely beautiful. The lyrics are absolutely beautiful. It's a love song that John Lennon wrote to his deceased mother, Julia. And the lyrics are just achingly straightforward, and the poetry of it is incredible. It's uh, it's kind of a beautiful statement about trying to express your love to somebody that doesn't know how to express love to you. Sort of unrequited love, where it's just this really genuine affection for somebody that's kind of distant and difficult to understand. And it's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever written. I love Julia. Then there's Birthday. Birthday rules. Birthday is just like an awesome, fun novelty song. I love the breakdowns. It's just fun, just kind of resets after the emotional kind of catharsis of the end of the last couple of songs. It just like reintroduces, like, in an obladi way, like, yeah, this is party, this is fun, let's do, and all the instruments kind of take turns playing on this simple phrase, and it's great. It's just a wonderful novelty song. It's a better birthday song than the one people sing at birthday parties. I wish they would sing this instead of the fucking happy birthday to. Yeah, it's a great song. After it is Your Blues. Your Blues is amazing. These are some of Lennon's best angry lyrics. He almost sounds like he is pissed off at the tropes of the blues music that he's become known for after being inspired by and identified with blues related forms of music, by kind of screaming a kind of vitriolic version of the blues. And the lyrics are amazing. My mother is of the sky, my father is of the earth, I am of the universe, and you know what it's worth. I'm lonely, I want to die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. Great song. And then in the middle, it breaks down and goes into this awesome, like, guitar solo thing. Like, sounds to me like the when the Grateful Dead do Round and Round, or not Round and Round, the one where it speeds up. Where it goes like it like hits double time and then goes back. Anyway, there's a Grateful Dead song that uses similar technique. I can't remember it. It's really bothering me. I don't have anything other than track listings, so I have to actually remember any of these bands or songs I'm referencing, and I can't remember. It is like a Chuck Berry type song, and then it hits this like. Anyway, I'll stop trying to remember this. After Your Blues, Mother Nature's Son, which is a beautiful, just kind of humble ode to the beauty of nature, animals, plants, our connection to the physical world. It's a great McCartney pop statement. It's good. Everything's got something to hide behind me and my monkey. Everything's got something to hide except me and my monkey is one of the best songs on the record. it's almost jarring the way they use percussion and stuff, and the lyrics are confusing. Like your inside is out, your outside is in. But even though it's an abstract sentiment, the lyric "Everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey" is actually one of the best lyrics the Beatles ever wrote, in terms of communicating a lot without telling you exactly what they're saying. Your inside is out when your outside is in. That's very deep wisdom. I don't think people are aware what they're being told when they hear that. Sexy Sadie, it's great. It's like, again, an older kind of doo-wop era love song about just kind of some harlot, like kind of unattainable, beautiful, libidinous kind of muse. After that is Helter Skelter, which is a fantastic song. I start at the bottom and I go back to the top of the slide, and I stop at the corner and I go for a ride. Then I get to the bottom and I see you again. Yeah. Don't you want me to make you coming down fast? So don't let me break you. Tell me. I may be a lover, but I ain't no dancer. You may be a lover, but you ain't no dancer. You're different than me, right? You're the one who may be a lover. You ain't no dancer. Yeah, it's about a roller coaster. Charlie Manson thought it was about an impending race war between white and black people. No, sorry, Charlie Manson. It's about a roller coaster. In England, they had a roller coaster. It's called Helter Skelter. It does sound kind of like a proto-metal song. So it's one of the more interesting kind of sonic anomalies in the Beatles catalog, because people can go back to this and be like, oh, well, in the mid-60s, the Beatles were kind of doing metal. I got blisters on my fingers. It's a great song. After that is Long, Long, Long. One of the greatest George Harrison songs, one of the greatest songs on the record, one of the greatest songs ever written. The lyrics are incredible. The melody is achingly gorgeous. It's this song to me communicates what unrequited love feels like better than almost any song ever. This is one of the most sincere and vulnerable songs about romantic love that's ever been recorded. And I'm not going to point out specific lyrics or things that I like about it, but it's amazing. After that is Revolution. Revolution rules. It's one of the best just like rock or Beatles songs. The lyrics are awesome. Melody's great. Can't argue with Revolution. We all want to change the world. But if you're going around carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone out. Anyhow. Don't you know it's gonna be alright? That's the only part I disagree with. I don't know if it's gonna be alright. It might not be alright. But it's a good sentiment. Then there's Honey Pie, which isn't the wild Honey Pie. This is, again, like a kind of quaint McCartney ballad. It's like a straightforward love song. And it's good. It's pleasant. It's nice. Savoy Truffle is pretty cool. It's like a weird rockin' song. It sounds kind of more... It doesn't sound like a Beatles song to me. It sounds like a song that would be created during this era by like an American kind of pop bands on a record label or whatever. It does not sound very Beatles, but it's cool within the context of the album because it just shows you the variety of the different types of ideas the Beatles are capable of, especially during this period. And Cry Baby Cry is a nice, just, you know, ballad about being emotional, letting it out. It's a good song. Sounds nice. And it's kind of the prerequisite to the most legitimately experimental, interesting part of the record. So I feel like they needed to give you some kind of sugar to make the medicine go down. So these last couple songs I feel like are spoonfuls of sugar. And then here's your medicine, Revolution number 9. Which, if you like Stockhausen, if you like music concrete, if you like legitimately experimental, confrontational forms of music that are not considered in the realm of pop music, the Beatles created a 9-minute soundscape with tape manipulations, weird voices, kind of blank sections, sound building. Like they just gave you basically all of the boring mainstream people who just listen to Beatles. The Beatles are telling you with Revolution number 9, there is so much more out there than vapid pop songs like fucking Honey Pie and Obladi. Like, yes, we can create these. We can create these endlessly. But there's stuff going on that is way more. That's just way further out there. Way more artistic than anything that you've liked on this album so far. So we're going to force you to at least hear this, or at least hear the first 2 minutes of it and turn it off. But God bless the Beatles for including Revolution number 9 on what I think is their best album. Because its inclusion is why it's their best album. After Revolution number 9, just Good Night. I think Ringo sings it. Just kind of a lovely 50s crooner closing that sounds legitimately insane after the album that you just went through. Specifically after Revolution number 9. It's just like, yep, that's here too. Everyone's invited on the White Album. Another perfect albums named after colors is Another Green World. Now this is either my first, second, or third favorite Brian Eno record, but I'm doing the colors, so I have to do Another Green World. I think Here Comes the Warm Jets, Taking Tiger Mind Best Strategy, Before and After Science. Yeah, I think this is in the top 5 Brian Eno records. Bush with Ghosts with Burn, I think, would be the other in my 5. But yeah, this is like the third best Brian Eno record. Anyway, shorter review when there's no lyrics. Sky Saw is an amazing opener. I just love this song. I just used to put this on playlists all the time by itself. I just love the way it goes through and then they build on it, and then there's like, I don't know how to describe Brian Eno electronic music. Listen to it. It's very good. You don't need some weirdo to describe to you with his limited vocal range. Like, try to imitate the sounds of Sky Saw. Just listen to it. It's fantastic. And then after Sky Saw, which is kind of rock and has a sweet bass line and stuff, there's Over Fire Island, which, again, it's like synthy instrumental passage, feels kind of like a transition from the world of Sky Saw to this other kind of more calm but teeming with little creatures world that is the Over Fire Island. and then goes into St. Elmo's Fire, which is one of the best straight up songs on the record. Like, has lyrics, has a good melody, it's very pretty. I believe Robert Fripp plays the guitar solo. Robert Fripp plays on a few songs on this record. Phil Collins plays drums on many of the songs on this record. The viola of John Cale is on a lot of songs in this record, which is great. I miss John Cale's viola playing. I thought the first two Velvet Underground records with John Cale were by far better than the ones without him. And his perspective is sorely missed in later Velvet Underground stuff. So make sure you listen to Velvet Underground, Nico, White Light, White Heat. They're two of the greatest albums ever recorded. They're the only two proper Velvet Underground albums, really. After St. Elmo's Fire, which is just a great 80s pop song, could be like on a fucking Oingo Boingo record or Devo or, like just a new wave. There's In Dark Trees, which sounds kind of dark and foresty. They named it accurately. It's like these weird kind of synth patterns that are kind of off kilter, just kind of create a sense of confusion, lostness, and then it resolves when it goes into the big ship. The big ship is, I think, the euphoric peak of the electronic statement of the record. The big ship. I don't know if that's death. I don't know if this is supposed to be heaven. It sounds kind of like heaven to me. It sounds like a blissful world that's beyond this one, where there's just sounds that are freely and perfectly just building on one another until they reach a height that is only found really in like gospel music, like religious, sacred music. It reaches that level of transcendence, that level of emotional impact, that level of just aching beauty. The Big Ship, one of the greatest pieces of electronic music ever created. After that is All Come Running. One of my favorite songs. One of my favorite songs, period. One of the best songs on the record. I'm gonna sit all day in the corner, or whatever the fuck. And he comes running to tie your shoe. It's just so good. It's just like, I'm bored. I'm gonna be over here. If you ever need something, I'll be right there. But I'm just gonna sit in the corner. I'm not gonna bother anybody. But if you need anything, you need me to tie your shoe, I will fucking run over. It's great. It's a great sentiment for introverts. It's like it's fantastic. Fantastic song. Melody's great. It's probably the best straight up pop song on the record. After All Come Running is the song Another Green World, which is this atmospheric instrumental. These three songs are atmospheric instrumentals. Another Green World, Somber Reptiles, and Little Fishes. They go through different little kind of palettes of these environments. All the songs on these feel like they're lived in environments. Like he's creating this kind of natural habitats and then recording kind of the found noise from these worlds. But the worlds are, synthetic. They're synthetic amalgams that represent analog, animal, kind of wild soundscapes that resemble things that you hear in nature, but then they're converted through these synthetic palettes to give you kind of an electronic new wave version of field recording of it's like they're creating, like, here's what it sounds like to be in a forest, here's what it sounds like to be in a pond, here's what little fishes sound like swimming around in the ground. And he's able to communicate these in a way that you understand exactly like what the world is that he's placing you in. And he just kind of takes you through different environments. And it's a beautiful way to construct an album. It's a very unique record. All of these instrumentals are very good. I don't want to describe the sonics of the instrumentals. Just listen to the record. It's great. Golden Hours is next, which is like a slow plodding synthy pop drumline song with vocals and stuff. So it's like it actually resembles conventional music to some degree. It's a little bit more detached and plaintive and strange than like a typical new wave pop song, but it's beautiful. It's reminds me of St. Elmo's Fire in some ways, in that they have these kind of like drum things and these synth things that sound kind of slow and kind of detached, and then over it you have delivering these vocals that sound kind of similarly detached and kind of robotic. It's like a science guy. I view as like scientific alchemist of music. I don't view him as like a singer or really even a songwriter. I think he's practicing these ancient alchemical principles, which is a lost form of science, but it's not really lost. It's just integrated. Certain people have it at their disposal, which is using these sacred geometric understandings to generate